Super Proctor, in the summer of 2022, August 17th specifically, you were sitting at your desk, presumably alone at your office, at about 10 p.m. at night, going through my client's personal cell phone.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you were sitting there texting with your friends and colleagues at Massachusetts State Police about you going through her personal cell phone. Is that right?
Correct, sir.
And that included Trooper DeChico, is that right?
DeChico, yes, sir.
Trooper Fanning, Trooper Buchnick, Trooper Moore, and Trooper Kotskowski.
5 people.
Kakowski.
Tell me that again.
Kakowski.
Kotskowski. Trooper Fanning and Trooper Buchnick are your supervisors.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were bragging to all 5 of them that you were going through Karen Reed's cell phone about 9:45 at night.
You gotta love that's the way he talks to his own supervisors, you know, that he just is that shows that is the culture of the place, right? So it is, the text messages are not only reflective of him, but also reflective of the entire culture, because he feels comfortable talking to these 5 other people, 2 of whom are his supervisor. And he doesn't feel any sense of shame. And he's, of course, as we've mentioned many times, the lead detective. So he's been around a while. So he has probably a pretty good sense of what they will or will not accept in the messages. So this is an indictment on Proctor, to be sure, but in some senses an indictment of the entire group, because they're all of one and the same, because this is how they talk with each other, because this is just normal.
How did you refer to Ms. Reed in that text exchange where you informed them that you were going through her phone?
I used regrettable language. I said going through his retarded client's phone right now.
Trooper Proctor, Trooper DeChico had sent you a photograph of my colleague, Mr. Unetti, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You see that, gentleman?
I do, sir.
Is that the photograph that you received?
Yes.
Is that what you referred to on direct examination with Mr. Lally about receiving a photograph from of Mr. Unetti?
Correct.
And then your response was what?
I hate that man. I truly hate that man.
What?
Actually, your response was, I'm going through his retarded client's phone right now, correct?
Yes, after the picture, sir, yes.
Who's the retarded client?
I was referring to Ms. Reed again, sir.
As an unbiased, objective investigator, the person that you were investigating, you referred to your bosses as retarded, correct?
Again, poor language on my part.
Again, I'm not even really sure necessarily the poor language really is the right way to put this, because again, this is just more indicative of the culture that he's speaking in, because no one is objecting. No one is throwing a flag. He knows how to talk to these people. He knows how to talk to them. He works with them all the time. He's a lead investigator. He's been around a while. These aren't strangers to them. They're his bosses. He's met them before. He works with them. He's had coaching from them before and all the rest of it, right? So it's not so much a poor language issue. That's not really quite the right way to phrase it. This is more indicative of just the way that he talks normally in his every day-to-day professional speech, because this is what professional looks like to him on a day-to-day basis. So that's just the way things go, apparently, in his world, with his subordinates, because he's the lead investigator, as well as his superiors. It's just the way that everyone talks. And we don't have any worries about the evidence or evidence collection or the overall ability of the state police, right? Because, wow, why would we have any questions about the state police's ability when we have a lead detective like Proctor in a community of these 6 people talking to each other where this is just normal? Why would we have any questions about the Massachusetts State Police? Holy shit.
You decided to make a comment about Mr. Unetti, her lawyer, correct?
Correct.
And what did you say about Mr. Unetti again?
I hate that man. I truly hate that man.
I hate that man. I truly hate him, correct?
Correct.
You didn't say I dislike him, disagree with him. You said I hate him, correct?
Correct, sir.
That's
What
a
did he-
visceral response
What did he ever do to you?
to someone who's just doing a job. Were you upset or annoyed or pissed off that Karen Reed had gotten representation, legal representation, to represent her?
No, not at all. That's her right.
Bullshit. Bullshit. why else would you would you hate the man? Why else would you hate the man except that he's a lawyer hired by Reed to be the lawyer and therefore is, let's say, interfering with your investigation? Why else would you hate him? Oh, I don't have anything against the criminal defendant who hires a lawyer. It's their right. Bullshit.
Yeah, I didn't use absolutely, sir.
You use truly, correct?
Truly, yes.
Oh, there's definitely enough to
How do you feel
splice the
about it
difference
now?
there.
Sitting right there.
I still don't care for him now.
Wait a second. The question is, how do you feel about him now? And your answer is, I still don't care for him. That was your answer you just gave in court just now. I still don't care for him. But you have nothing against Karen Reed hiring a lawyer. Even though at this moment, with all your prep, all your planning, all your ability to think about your testimony, because it's been a while, right? All the opportunity in the world to think about your testimony. You're like, nope. Even as I sit here today, I don't care for him. I don't like those attorneys. And he's a lead investigator. Holy shit.
What did you tell your colleagues that you were looking for as you sat at almost 10 p.m. at night on a Wednesday night, August 17th, 2022, looking through Karen Reed's phone?
I didn't tell them I was looking through anything. They knew I was going through Miss Reed's phone. I provided a inappropriate joke as an update. They knew I was going through location data, text messages, Google searches. But like I had mentioned earlier, I had to stop.
Except for Proctor, none of that really professional sounding stuff ended up in your comments to your bosses.
Yeah. No.
Again, it was a poor joke.
Is that yes or no?
Did not know.
It did not.
No nudes so far.
No nudes so far. Correct?
Correct.
And you said that to your bosses.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
You were looking, let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked for naked photos of a male suspect that you were investigating?
I don't look for naked photos in anyone's phones.
Sure.
She said you were looking for nudes of Miss Reed.
Ha 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 ha. Funny joke. Well, I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of it. I'm not sure that's exactly what you had in mind, but I'll laugh at the absurdity of it. So I mean, you're a joke. So I guess we'll laugh at that. So yeah, otherwise I'm not really sure I believe you. Oh, it was just a joke. It was just a silly joke, which you're communicating to your superiors in a professional context as a lead investigator. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not buying that one.
Do you believe that your text messages were reflective of an objective investigator?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Do you believe that, Trooper Proctor?
I believe poor jokes have, in unprofessional language, have no bearing on the integrity and the facts and physical evidence of this case.
It's not that they don't have any. You weren't so much as objectively investigating Karen Reed as objectifying her, correct?
Objection.
Facts. Yeah. But here he seems to look to Karen Reed and incidentally the medical examiner and other women in a very negative light, but it's certainly not objective. It is indicative of a prejudicial attitude when it comes towards women, an attitude of them being lesser, an attitude of them being beneath him. That in this particular context of him being the lead investigator, investigating a woman, Karen Reed has a bit of a quality of, yes, I think it might influence the investigation. And as I pointed out before, not even really so much him, although certainly him to be sure, but also everyone he works with, because the text messages he's sharing with two of his supervisors and three other people, it seems, who presumably are working for him because he's the lead investigator, or at least reporting to him in this context. So although it's an indictment on him, it's an indictment on everyone. Didn't we get the state police involved in the first place? So we'd have someone more objective, more professional, more experienced to investigate this rather than the biased, conflicted Canton State Police or the Canton Police Department. Isn't that why we got the state police involved in the first place? Is because we wanted the best of the best of the best who would investigate this trial and bring all their experience to bear. And now we have this, which is reflective of not only him, but the entire pool of people he brings with him. And we're supposed to believe it doesn't have any impact on the investigation. Is that what you want to go with? Because I'm having a difficult time keeping a straight face with that one, sir.
Your point in saying no nudes so far to your colleagues in Massachusetts State Police was to suggest that you were looking for nudes and you'd update them when you found them, correct?
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you find any nudes
Again,
of Karen Reed?
I didn't go through the photos, sir.
Did you find any nudes of Karen Reed?
I didn't go through the photos, sir.
You weren't successful in your quest.
I came across messages from Miss Reed to another attorney on January 29th, so I had to stop looking through her phone.
So you got sidetracked before you could get to the naked pictures of Miss Reed. Is that what you're saying?
You know, I could be mistaken, but there was a pause in the attorney's question where before he said the word sidetracked, there was a pause. And I wonder if perhaps the attorney was contemplating using another word for when something interferes with a man's desire to pursue a woman. But I wonder if the attorney might have been contemplating rooster prevention as a alternative word choice there. The pause is suggestive to me.
Trooper Proctor, this is your direct chain of command. Is that right? You're a Buchanan?
Yes, sir.
Did the warrant say anything about looking for nudes of my client?
Objection.
Did it
No,
say anything about that?
no, Your Honor.
Okay, next
Bet
question.
didn't.
So that
Bet
would
didn't.
be, Trooper Proctor, you'd agree that the hallmark of any good investigation, as you've been taught and others in the Massachusetts State Police have been taught, is that the investigation and the investigator have to be fair. They have to be impartial. Would you agree with that?
That'd be a good
Yes, sir.
thing. That's
Meaning that the investigation has
that's the whole reason we got the state police in the first place. I mean, normally this would just be Canton Police. That's, your local PD, right? That would be normally who investigates your typical crime, regardless of scale. The state police don't typically get involved. The whole reason we got you involved in the first place is because, well, the Canton Police were conflicted out with a conflict of interest. That's why we got you involved. So yeah, having an independent investigator would be the whole reason you're here. And apparently independent investigator means, well, all the things that we've seen in all the text messages. So the backup system needs a little work there in Massachusetts, I think.
basically, you follow the evidence. You're supposed to follow the evidence wherever it takes you, right?
Correct.
Good or bad, top to bottom, just follow the evidence and report it back. That's how an investigation is supposed to be run, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Follow the facts, follow the law. That's really it at the end of the day. Follow the facts, follow the law. I have just summarized the entire job of the executive when it comes to criminal justice.
Literally, it's part of an oath that you took at the
Yeah.
academy that you will, quote, faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties
Yep.
incumbent on you as a Massachusetts State Police trooper, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, my friends, the roast of Michael Proctor is well and truly on, and the court is going to be resuming. And if I were a betting man, I would think all day tomorrow would be cross. Couldn't say for sure, but I'd be willing to bet. My bet is that the entire defense team has, for the last day and a half, because they locked themselves in the room, that evening. So that evening and all of today, when this is being recorded, so for a day and a half, they have locked themselves in a room and refused to allow anyone to leave, including with the paralegals who aren't allowed to leave. And they're just basically doing a whole writer's room where they're just pitching ideas about all the questions they want to ask and going through everything in every possible way for all the fun questions they're going to asking. So I imagine that the nature of the questions that will be asked will be particularly riveting with all this break. So we will see how things progress for Michael Proctor, but given how things are going, I don't have a lot of hope for him or the state's case because, well, it's pretty embarrassing now, isn't it?